Hello and welcome to math. So this is Miss McKinney and our week this week is April 27th through May 4th. And you are required to get a 50% or above on the Ed puzzle. So I wanted to let you know if you don't make a 50% or if you're worried about that. I do go through the Ed puzzle problems at 9 a.m. and at 1:15 p.m. on Friday. So you're welcome to join me at those times so that we can go over those Ed puzzle problems in detail. There's also some visuals at the bottom of this document for a preview, and of course we're going to go through those since this is the Ed puzzle. And so we're going to be mastering some life skills, especially as we get into finance. So the main thing that we're going to be doing is calculating volume. And there's several things that you're going to be doing, but the only thing that you absolutely have to turn in this week is the Ed puzzle that you're doing right now on finance and volume. I would love for you to email me a picture of your geometry project and then also turn in the analysis page to Google Classroom. Even if you just have one of those and not the other, I would still love to see it. So a few songs, these songs are like really cool, so I would really suggest that you listen to those. They're also really good information. So the warm up on your own paper, go ahead and answer, do you have your own money? What career do you want when you grow up? You can list several, but for the next question, I want you to choose one. How much money does that career make? So if you need to, open up Google and find the average yearly salary of a teacher or a computer programmer. And then I want an estimate of how much you think college is going to cost you. And when I was setting up this unit, I would love to get you to talk to your parents about money and that kind of thing, but not everyone's comfortable talking about money, and the world is really stressful right now. So just keep in mind, especially if you're aware that your parents have lost their jobs or that money is a stressful topic, you might just stick with Google for now and use your parents to learn from when times are a little bit better. So we have a couple of geometry vocabulary. This is a net. And what that means is if I cut out on the outside lines, if I cut it out, and then I fold it on these inside lines, it would make a box. All right, and so this would make a rectangular prism, which is just a fancy name for a 3D box, just like the boxes you're probably getting from Amazon or whatever. So then we have a short geometry lesson, and probably in elementary you've used volume as length times width times height. And in this video, it's going to show you that length times width is the same thing as the area of the base. So make sure that you realize that. And that really this formula is the same one as the one that you've been using. So take a look at that video. You're going to go ahead and make a big old chart on a fresh sheet of paper and watch these two videos and continue filling out these charts. These are the definitions. And so I'm going to ask you some questions on those later. Then go ahead and write all this down. We're going to go through some examples. And so this is why credit cards can be a little dangerous. So lots of brand name clothes and all that kind of stuff is probably not an emergency. So you're right here, you're doing the Ed puzzle. And let me just take you through real quickly. For those of you still on the Cubism project, I really appreciate that. A couple of cool videos on shading. And you can shade in pencil, black pencil, or you can use colors. And I just wanted to let you know that if you hold your colored pencil up and down like you're writing, it's going to make lines, kind of like you're writing. So you can see there's some lines down here. If you hold it on your side, on the side, and color with the side instead of the tip of the colored pencil, it's going to shade broadly or it's going to color in. And you can see that here at the top. So just be aware that holding your pencil in different positions is going to give you different results. And so then I gave you some examples of some different types of coloring and shading. And so you can play around with whichever ones you want. There's just a lot of cool options there. And so you can even mix and match. And so you can see here that they've mixed and matched, and then even on our Pikachu. All right, once you think you're done with the project, these are just some questions that you're going to want to ask yourself. and then turn in the analysis page on Google Classroom and take a picture of your picture and email it to me. I do need to see those border numbers so I can see the X and Y axis and where those shapes are. All right, so we looked at a net for a rectangular prism. So if you cut out this shape on the outside lines and you folded it on the inside lines, what special shape would it make? Next, we have a rectangular prism, and it is 6 centimeters by 3 centimeters by 4 centimeters. Volume of a rectangular prism is the area of the base, and the base is a rectangle. It kind of looks different because it's drawn 3D, but it is a rectangle, times the height. So if we take a look, we know that a rectangle is just length times width. So that's all we're doing here, is we're going to do our 6 times 3. And that is our base. Then our height is 4. And keep in mind, we're now working in 3 dimensions. So our answer is going to be in centimeters cubed, because if we were to take some shapes and fill this container up, we can't fill it up with squares, that would just cover the bottom. We'd have to fill it up with cubes, so it's centimeters cubed. So go ahead and on your calculator and calculate that and enter in your answer. Next, we have another little rectangular prism, and it is 4.5 centimeters by 3.2 centimeters by 4.2 centimeters. Go ahead and calculate the volume of this. Next, we have a word problem. And so if an Amazon box needs to hold 120 cubic centimeters of candy, the length is 8 centimeters and the width is 6 centimeters, how tall, or the height, does the box need to be? So we need to go ahead and fill these in. So the volume of the box is in those centimeters cubed, and it's 120. And then we have the length and the width. So the length is 8 centimeters. And the width is 6 centimeters. So we don't know what the height is. You can put an H here, or if you want to, you can put an X. Go ahead and figure out what 6 times 8 is. And then it's a one-step equation to solve. So go ahead and solve for the height. The next thing is I love tiny homes. And one of the things you can build a tiny home out of is a shipping container. So shipping containers, I looked this up, they're 8 feet by 8.5 feet by 40 feet. And so these are all 3 of these dimensions, length, width, and height. So you want to find the volume of one shipping container. Now I have an air conditioner, and I'm a big fan of air conditioning. And this air conditioner can cool 10,880 cubic feet. So if this is my air conditioner that I'm going to use in my tiny home, how many shipping containers can my home be? So now we're going to talk about finance. So in the blank for the Ed Puzzle question, I want you to write by hand, or type in there, what career do you want and how much money does that career make each year? If you really don't know what career you want, just choose one and do the research. Now, which account requires a PIN number, usually of 4 digits? Which kind of account requires a bank account with money in it? This should be in your notes from the videos. Which account makes it super easy to get yourself into debt where you owe money? Which account allows you to earn rewards? Which account is good for emergencies so that you don't lose your job, even if you don't have the money right now? So let's say my car breaks down and I need my car to get to work. And even though I don't have $1,000 in my account to fix it, what account in my regular bank account, what account could I use for this emergency, even if I don't have money? All right, next we have I equals PRT, and so it's principal times rate times time. I is the interest. That's the money that's extra, that's either owed or paid. All right. P is the principal, or the money you started with. R is the rate. It's going to be given as a percent, and you're going to change it to a decimal. And then T is the time in years. So let's take a look. We have an investment account. And in this investment account, our principal is $2,000. And we are going to get a rate of 5% interest. So they're going to pay us 5% because we're kind of letting them hold our money, and they like to hold our money. So it's going to be 0.05. All right. So the rate is 5%. The time that they're going to hold our money is 3 years, and we're going to calculate the interest. Our formula is I equals PRT. And remember, when there's no operation between, we are multiplying. All right, so we're just going to take these and put them in their correct spots. We don't know the interest, so I'm going to keep it as I. P is 2,000, so I'm going to write my 2,000 in here. Ooh, oh yeah, that's my beautiful handwriting. Oh yeah. Then R, we're going to use the decimal, so it's 0.05. Make sure you don't get confused between the multiplication symbols and the decimals. And our time is 3 years. So hopefully you can write that a little bit better than me on your paper. We have 2,000 times 0.05 times 3. Put that in your calculator and calculate the interest. Then they're paying you. So at the end of the time of this investment account, they're going to give you your $2,000 back, plus the interest that they're paying you because they got to hold on to your money. So what is the total amount that you would get paid at the end of your 3 years? And it's the principal plus the interest that you found. Next, we're going to talk about the opposite. So instead of giving the bank your money to hold and doing an investment, you're going to purchase something. And so on this purchase, you end up paying $500 worth of interest. But the principal, the amount that you started with, was $1,000. So you bought something that was $1,000. You're going to calculate your interest rate, and we're going to have it for 2 years. You bought something for $1,000. And 2 years later, they had charged us interest of $500. It's like, oh my goodness. So what we have here is the interest is $500 from a principal of $1,000. We don't know the rate, so you can leave that as an R or put an X there if you'd like. And the time is 2 years. So now we have a one-step equation that we're going to be calculating the rate. So remember, you can scramble things around when they're multiplied because of a community of property. So you can go ahead and switch 1,000 and 2 and multiply those and calculate for R. So the R is the interest rate. Make sure you turn it back into a percent. And then I wanted to let you know that this is typical of a credit card. A credit card is typically this percent interest. And so you ended up buying something that was $1,000. How much did you end up paying for it with the $500 interest and the $1,000 principal? And you probably feel like this about now. See you later.